Sunderland are out on their own at the top of the EFL Championship. They've got 3 parachute teams chasing them. They are 5 points clear after the mythical, the fabled, the very difficult to do, the perfect 9-point week for the Black Cats. The only team in the EFL Championship to pull it off this time around. 9 points across the week. It was Hull away, Luton away, and Oxford at home yesterday. Sunderland won all 3. Now, this is supposed to be hot takes here on the channel on Sunday mornings. It would not be a very hot take for me to come on here and say, oh, Sunderland are good. Sunderland are killing it. Sunderland are in the promotion race. You wouldn't need to know very much about this division that we cover here to be able to say that. Just look at the league table, frankly. So do we need to go in further? Do we need to say Sunderland are title favourites right now, given that, I don't know, Burnley in front of goal aren't quite doing it at the moment? Leeds are going to have to go through winter without the first choice central midfield. Chris Wilder keeps telling us that Sheffield United are a developing team, etc., etc. Are Sunderland actually best placed? I don't know. That hyperbole, you tell me in the comments. Or don't tell me whether it's hyperbole or not. For God's sake, we get enough feedback like that. Tell me, are they title favourites or not? Right here, right now. So it was 2-0 against Oxford yesterday. I think, given they'd navigated the Hull away trip and the Luton away trip, it was like, okay, just finish the deal. Now, I know Oxford have been really fantastic since coming up from League One, but you made Sunderland hot favourites. Bellingham and Isidore, what a strike by Isidore. We'll see if that pops up in a very stacked Worldie of the Week competition in the Championship this weekend. Check that out on the on the Championship Check-In podcast tomorrow with me and Sam Parkin. But they've got a hot hand up front in Isidore now. He's scored 4 in his last 6 games. They're going to have to do it all again because it's this weird block of games now where we had international break, 3-game week. We now have 7 days, and then it's another 3-game week, and then another international break. They're not going to fix the computer because they go away, home again. And we discussed this with Sam as probably the most difficult, unless you're going to get away, which is very rare with the 3-game weeks. I think we had that a few seasons ago, and they just haven't done it since, sending teams for 3 away games in a week. But they are going to be going away, home. But look at these fixtures. QPR, 23rd. Preston, 16th. And then they've got Coventry at home, who are 18th. So it's all set up for them to be looking, well, in a very nice position, i.e. top of the table going into the next international break, given it's 3 games and they've got a 5-point buffer. Get involved. Let me know. Are they title favourites? People are making some comparisons to Ipswich last season. I don't think they're great comparisons, really, because obviously Sunderland have been up 2 seasons, actually finished in the playoffs in their first season, whereas Ipswich got the streak, didn't they? The zoom right the way through League One, Championship, Premier League. Where I would agree with the comparisons is about taking Sunderland seriously now, where it took a while, didn't it, for Ipswich last season, where you think, oh God, they can't stay up there in the top 2. It's not possible. And then as the points totals, as you get to game, 10, game 20, the halfway point, Christmas, etc., and you're like, well, hang on a minute. Everything is telling us they are going to hang about here. So that I would agree with. And I think we've reached that point now. And to see Sunderland giving up so few chances, to already have 9 wins, to already have 28 points, and to have stuck in that 5-point gap, they have to be taken seriously now. And that is where I would make the comparison with what we saw last season, where it was like, oh, I didn't suspect they would be in the conversation, but they very, very much are now. Outstanding Sunderland. So in terms of a hot take, are they title favourites? You tell me. We'll just talk quickly about Burnley and Leeds, who both drew 0-0. We always bring this up, don't we? In the winter with the 3-game weeks and the grind of the Championship, you do get the odd, kind of drab 0-0 draw. I think if you're Burnley drawing at home 0-0 to QPR as opposed to Leeds going away to Bristol City. Burnley have knocked out 5 points this week. Leeds have knocked out 7. And we've got this idea with Leeds that they're really having to cope with. It's not an injury crisis per se in terms of, you got, I don't know, 9 players injured or whatever who might be in your match day squad. But when you take out one complete area of the team, it's a problem. So I think I'll probably be a bit happier this week if I were a Leeds fan than if I were a Burnley fan. I know it's only 2 points difference. Leeds have taken 7 points across the week. Burnley have taken 5. Burnley have had 4 draws in 6, and the goals are dropping off a little bit. We've floated this idea that Burnley were running hot in terms of chance creation against chance conversion. So what I would say about these sides is when I'm saying I would be slightly happier if I were a Leeds fan than if I were a Burnley fan, I wouldn't be unhappy if I were a fan of either team. You're locked in there. Obviously, Sunderland have had an excessively good start. And I get the argument back, especially from Leeds fans with a bit of PTSD from last season that, well, okay, Ben, you can talk about law of averages. That's no good if you get an Ipswich or if you get a season like last season, where 90 points won't even get you in the top 2. Fine, I accept that argument. But I think if you get to game 12, you're just 1 point shy of 2 points per game. There's been sorting out needed to do at both clubs. Burnley are 9 unbeaten and Leeds are 7 unbeaten. These clubs are not losing games and they're just tucked behind a team that's had a very, very good start. And again, I do accept the argument that that's where the Ipswich comparison with Sunderland comes in, where you can say they're stuck behind a team that's had a very, very good lightning start. They could keep going and you might be stuck behind them all season. So I get that argument, but yeah, wouldn't be massively unhappy if I were a fan of either at the end of this week. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about Sheffield United, who had a really bad start to the week. Got to give them some credit, really, because it's hard fixtures, wasn't it? They had to go to Leeds on Friday night and then away to Middlesbrough in the midweek. I mean, if away, home is the worst permutation of fixtures, then hard away games, we expect Leeds away probably to be the hardest game you get this season. And Middlesbrough, I know they're flattered to deceive a little bit. We'll find out what they do today. We're recording as ever on Sunday morning, so they haven't played yet. They go to Norwich, of course, this afternoon. But it's not an easy game. So they've bounced back. They've beaten Stoke 2-0 yesterday. And talked about, law of averages and 2 points per game. We've got to keep saying it. Sheffield United had the -2. They would be second. They do have 2 points per game. Only Sunderland, I think, have won more games than Sheffield United this season. They're a good side, doing very, very decently. They've bounced back nicely. They're superb at home, haven't they? 5 wins, 1 draws. By the way, we've got a few teams who have started red hot at home, and most of them, as you can imagine, at this point in the season, are right up at the top of the table. Some of them have very Jekyll and Hyde home and away records. We'll talk about a couple of them in just a minute. But Sheffield United, there's a lot to say that they're going to be in and around it. And if you can do a quick bounce back and make those 2 away defeats just an outlier, a little blob that when we look in 10, 15 games, there's not that many more defeats and certainly not any more back-to-back defeats, you're looking very, very good. And I will make one more Ipswich comparison. I don't get told off for mentioning Ipswich, but they were a huge story last season. And the other thing I was going to say in terms of the comparison, Ipswich did absolutely nothing against the top teams in the league last year. They didn't beat 4 of the other 5 in the top 6. They only beat Southampton. Didn't beat Leeds, didn't beat Leicester, didn't beat Norwich, didn't beat West Brom. So what I'm saying about Sheffield United here is, yes, you've gone to Leeds and you've gone to Middlesbrough and lost. Doesn't matter. If you punish the rest of the teams in the division and get wins against Stoke, who they beat 2-0 yesterday, Kiefer Moore, Tyrese Campbell against his former club there with the goals, you're going to be up at the top of the table. So, yeah, decent bounce back for Sheffield United. Let me know, Blades fans, what you think in the comments. There you go. We talk about Watford. They had a good win yesterday against Blackburn. And they are one, so were Blackburn, by the way, of our Jekyll and Hyde sides. I'm going to talk about Plymouth later as well, who are really good at home and terrible away from home. It will keep you in and around the top 6 at this point in the season, but you've got to pick up some away points at some point, else you are just going to drop down as the teams who are good at home and even average away. That's how you get your 2 points per game, isn't it? Win at home, draw away. There's your 2 points per game. Obviously, there's a bit of flow and a bit of give and take on that, but as a rule, that's how you get your promotion, isn't it? So we thought the home side wins this game. Watford do it 1-0 penalty from Edo Kayembe. Let me know your thoughts on that. Army's in a unnatural position, isn't it? Does the ball come from excessively close? I don't know. You want to debate refereeing decisions, feel free in the comments. Don't blame me if I don't reply, but there you go. So, yeah, they're tied 6th and 7th right now, Watford and Blackburn. But it is this title-winning form at home and relegation form away that they both need to fix. And I should mention Kayembe. I think he's got like 5 goals or something. He's having a great season. We could, again, have Norwich or Middlesbrough, I think, overtake. Yeah, either of them could supplant, is that the right word? One of these two sides, or both of these two sides, in fact, and supplant Blackburn in the top 6. But good win for Watford again. But the message is obviously, yeah, it'll only last so long if you're really good at home and do absolutely nothing away. Millwall did something away yesterday, didn't they? And went and won at Swansea. Millwall fans, can you tell me, was it a bit smashy and grabby? It was a late goal by Casper De Noor. And the numbers tell me it was a bit smashy and grabby, but let me know in the chat. A 7-point week from Millwall. And if, like me, you're a Championship nerd and you were covering games on Wednesday, you will have noticed after the games on Tuesday, Millwall were 21st, 1 point above the bottom 3. Right now, they are 10th and 3 points off the playoffs. Again, with that caveat that could stretch to 4 points if either Norwich or Middlesbrough get a win this afternoon. So I don't know what that tells us about Millwall. Millwall fans can let us know. Are they streaky? Are they up and down? What it does tell us is that in a 24-team league, at this point around games 10 and 12, the teams that are kind of average in the middle get all bunched up, don't they? We know this always happens. And if, like Millwall, you do 7 points in a 3-game week, whoop, you go up and down very, very quickly. So well played, Millwall. A tremendous week. And again, if they replicate that in the next 3-game week, let's add them into the playoff conversation for sure. But we'll hold fire for now. Great wins for Sheffield Wednesday and Coventry, which I am not going to talk about because I covered them both as watch-along. So if you want to hear my thoughts on either Pompey 1, Wednesday 2 from Friday night, or Coventry 3, Luton 2, other way round. I was thinking of who scored first rather than who was playing at home first. Click on the watch-alongs and you can see the clock will be about there on the screen. When the clock disappears, the game's over. I'll do a match review there and I'll give my thoughts sort of fairly concisely, 6-8 minutes there. So if you want to hear about those games, check out over there. And we'll hear from Sam, actually, tomorrow as well, if you're a Wednesday or Coventry fan. He was co-coms for both of those games for Sky Sports, so he'll have good input. That's all the winners. I do want to talk about one draw, which was Plymouth 3, Preston 3. There were 5 draws yesterday, which does back up our theory about 3-game weeks and winter and grinding it out and things of that nature. But this was mental, wasn't it? Preston 3-0 up at 48 minutes. And by the look of it, absolutely battering Plymouth. By the way, did I hit some boos on the commentary from the Plymouth fans when goals 2 and 3 went in? I don't know. You tell me. So Preston go 3 up with some great finish. And it's just a mad comeback. Okay, they scored fairly early, didn't they? After the 3rd goal went in. But then I think it was like 82 and 92. And Whittaker did it again, didn't he? It was Whittaker at the end of the game against Blackburn as well. So deja vu all over again at home park, wasn't it? By the way, I don't know for any of you audio people, I don't know whether they just have the mics set up wrong or Plymouth is just the loudest stadium because the mics always distort when they go in, when the goals go in there at Plymouth. But it could just be the sheer noise and the absolute limbs when that Whittaker goal went in, but you love to see it. But just quickly on Plymouth, it's just bonkers, isn't it? We already mentioned the likes of Blackburn and Watford, who are really good at home and really bad away. I think Plymouth are the worst away team in the league, and they are really good at home. They've always been really good at home, Plymouth. Even at Championship level, that geography thing still works for and against Plymouth. The Rooney conversation gets overplayed, but that does look like a fan base that's behind him. And unless I'm reading something into the booing as they went 2 and 3 behind. And it does look like the players are kind of all in on this. So hopefully we can park the obsession with Rooney and focus a little bit more on Jekyll and Hyde home and away. And Jekyll and Hyde 3-0 down, 3-3 draw. But absolutely fascinating stuff. Get involved in the comments on anything related to the Championship so far. Again, we normally have some upset, triggered people in the comments. We are recording on Sunday morning. This is the best time for me to record. If that makes you massively upset that we haven't talked about Norwich Middlesbrough, which is happening at 3 p.m. today, I don't know what to say. We'll probably talk about it tomorrow, but try and keep calm. It's not that important. You'll be able to find some coverage elsewhere and hopefully some from me over here. And of course, there's 24 teams in the league. We haven't mentioned all of them. Hopefully you'll have some scintilla level of empathy that it's very difficult to cover every single team with any accuracy. And we want to get the video out here on Sunday and we'll have a bit more time to hopefully mention the team you support tomorrow on the Championship Check-In podcast with Sam Parkin and myself. So check that out and get involved in the comments. And the hot take today really is Sunderland are title favourites. Are they? I don't know. You tell me.